You alright, Mom?
Yeah. I'm so tired.
Yeah, this sucks.
You okay?
Right now, they got a whole family out there in the water, and people is drowning.
As the waters continued to rise all around them, Aisha Nelson and her children were desperately waiting to be rescued in Houston.
No, please help us.
Hey man, I'm just trying to get some food. I had grooves last night, man. This is Southmore right here in 3rd Ward. This is the freeway. This is the freeway. This is 288. This is the exit. This is 288. This is the freeway. Wow. Almost 16 foot. Crazy. Come on now. After I grab this food, man, I'm gonna be stuck. I can't even get back to the house, man. Me and that boy Spivey, we stuck out here.
Man, y'all was staying the portal, man. Look at this here. This truck can't even get through.
Okay, everybody, there's a lot of water in my house, so I want you to start praying to Drake. He is the sixth God, okay? Tell the sixth God to come save me, okay? Drizzy, if you can help me, please help me, okay? I'm in Southwest Houston, okay? I'm one of the realest to ever do it, okay? Just save me, please. Look at this water, okay? I don't need this right now. I'm way too bougie for it, okay?
Está acá atrás. Va para el cajón. Acá. Sácalo. Está en la esquina. Ahí va. Ya lo. Oh my God!
Oh, what the hell? I'm done. This truck.
All right, this is Highway 288 and Old Spanish Trail. Man, that shit crazy. Tropical Storm Harvey making its mark.
pit and did everything. Yeah, I got it where it ain't going nowhere. Both sitting right here for a minute. I wanted to go there, to go do that.
So, not too far from just climbing on into the backyard and getting right here to the patio. So here's the gator moving along. You can see him just kind of taking his time. He's inside of the fence again. I'm going to show you. So here's the top of the fence, the low part, where he is able to get into our backyard. And now it looks like there's not only him, but now him. So not too far from just climbing on into the backyard.
Okay, so it's 11:50 p.m. and we have water through the main hall. You can still see that the water is seeping in from outside.
This is damage inside of a home. This damage caused by a tornado that was spawned by Hurricane Harvey. This is in Sienna Plantation.
What did you just go through back there? Hell? How much water is in your house?
It's okay, baby. Hold on. Someone's coming. Someone's coming, baby. Hold on. Let me see if I can go around. What happened, baby? Come on. You gotta follow me. Can you swim a little bit?
Il y a beaucoup d'habitants de Houston qui sont en train de aller au travail. Et aujourd'hui, c'est une rivière. Le panneau au fond là-bas indique la hauteur maximale, environ 5 mètres.
Texas, the nation's fourth largest city, Houston, brought to its knees by historic flooding. The images of destruction and dislocation are horrifying, but the massive rescue effort, neighbor helping neighbor, is inspiring. Here's ABC News chief national correspondent Tom Yamas.
Oh, we need help. We need help right now. They got a whole family out there in the water, and people is drowning.
As the waters continued to rise all around them, Aisha Nelson and her children were desperately waiting to be rescued in Houston.
No, please help us.
They were just one of thousands of families in desperate need of aid.
We don't have no food. I haven't ate in 2 days. No water.
We will show you Aisha and her family's dramatic rescue coming up. Their story of survival, now one of hundreds, in the wake of the strongest hurricane to hit Texas in more than 50 years. It's too early to tell the full scope of the devastation, but what is clear is that Houston will never be the same.
There is a reality that we have to come to grips with, and that is we are just beginning the process of responding to this storm.
The landmark hurricane swept through southeastern Texas, hitting the coast as a Category 4 early Saturday morning. Its winds tearing down power lines and peeling off rooftops. Then, as the storm weakened, it began to settle over the area. And on Sunday, a new threat emerged: catastrophic flooding. So far, at least 6 people have died. And now fears growing that the death toll will rise in the nation's 4th largest city. The National Weather Service predicting that some areas here could see more than 50 inches of rain.
Pull her up! Try to pull her up!
Families fighting to stay above water, floating on air mattresses, piling into canoes and rescue baskets. Some standing on rooftops, waiting for aid. Children wading through the waist-deep waters with the fire department. As of 9 a.m. this morning, more than 75,000 calls have been made to Houston's 911 system.
It's a lake. Cars are stranded. We're not going to get out of here.
Among those at risk, the most vulnerable, This heartbreaking image of a group of senior citizens trapped in an assisted living facility, the water up to their waists, some in wheelchairs. They were later rescued by helicopter and brought to a new location.
The most important thing we have are our lives. And to be able to get through the storm the way we did and save so many lives is nothing short than remarkable.
The flood zone today expanding to more than 50 miles. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has activated all 12,000 members of the National Guard. And Coast Guard teams in the air and on the water have saved more than 2,000 people. Tomorrow, the president will head to Texas.
We are 100% with you. We're praying for you. We're working closely with your leaders and officials. And I will be visiting the impact zone tomorrow to ensure that you're receiving full support and cooperation from the federal government.
The response teams remain so overwhelmed that FEMA is calling for ordinary citizens to get involved in the rescue effort. While Hurricane Harvey may have beaten down buildings and homes, the one thing it didn't seem to topple was the human spirit.
There's some older people that really need to get some medical attention, and we're trying to convince them that the best thing is to get them out.
George Jackson and his brother Alex showed us how they're taking it upon themselves to rescue their neighbors.
Some of the areas we can't see if it's a foot or 10 feet.
We told them about a woman we heard who was trapped. All we had was her name, Yvette, and a possible address, but that's all they needed.
There's like multiple dogs and cats.
The home completely underwater.
There's definitely more than 2 feet of water in this house, maybe almost 3 feet of water.
The homeowner emotional at the sign of help.
It's our home, and I'm going to start crying and be like an idiot.
It's all right. I mean, I see your house. It's.
I know, we're fine, like we're okay. We're just really ready to get out.
Then Yvette, who had put out her SOS on social media, emerges.
Hi,
Yvette, Tom Yamas from ABC News.
Thank you so much.
Both women telling us how quickly the water started building.
It came in at 5:30, and before you know it, it's a foot, and it's 2 feet, and it envelops the house like you cannot imagine.
Outside, they head for the boats with their dogs, cats, even birds, and meet the men who just saved them all.
Oh my God, Jackson Brothers, hello, thank you so much. How many people have you rescued today?
A lot. These guys are the real heroes. These are the guys rescuing everybody today in this neighborhood.
Thank you, Jackson Brothers.
You're welcome.
41-year-old Adam Brackman was also one of the many who answered the call to help.
Hello. Hi. Hi. You want to go on a boat ride, Kate? Yeah. Can I pick you up and carry you? Yeah.
Brackman drove as far as floodwaters would allow him.
Say bye-bye to your house for a couple days.
See you later, house.
See you later, house.
Teaming up with other local volunteers to rescue as many people as possible. Since yesterday, he estimates he's helped more than 70 people and counting.
You help us out here, we're just gonna go under this overpass and around the corner.
Today, along the highway, we met a driver who took us to a flooded-out neighborhood where a woman named Sinara was stuck in her home, her family asking for help on social media.
Did you see a house with the roof collapsed?
We find the home and the part of the roof starting to cave in. Sinara was displaced by Hurricane Katrina, now dealing with Harvey.
I don't know. I've been through so much, so I really don't know. I mean, I'm a war veteran, so this is a bad joke for me right now.
But she refuses to go to the shelter. She doesn't want to leave her pets behind. FEMA estimates more than 30,000 survivors will need to be accommodated in shelters in the coming days. Another major concern, those who are stranded and in ill health. This woman was received by the paramedics and transferred onto a stretcher. Many of those saved will end up here at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Some brought in by dump trucks, others streaming in by the busload. So far, more than 5,000 evacuees have signed in. The Red Cross telling us they're not going to deny anyone who needs help.
First, they go through this security checkpoint, many of them taking with them only what they could carry. Then they walk this way, making their way over to the registration desk where they check in with the Red Cross. From there, they make their way into that room where dry clothes, food, and water is waiting.
My colleague Victor Okendo spoke with Dr. McDivitt, a physician in Houston.
What kinds of injuries are you guys seeing? What are the normal treatments you guys are having to go through?
For the most part, it's relatively minor injuries, cuts and scrapes and bruises and sprains, the kind of thing you would expect as people are evacuating their homes. but there's also serious problems with people that have lost their medications, people that haven't taken their medications for a number of days.
Asma Flowers is seeking refuge here with her 3 children. It took her 3 hours to get here, by boat, by foot, and finally by bus.
Are you relieved to be here now?
Yes, as long as my baby's safe. As long as they're safe, I'm safe.
How long do you think you might be staying here?
Hopefully, as soon as the water go down, I can get my family to come get me.
Officials are concerned about Houston's dams overflowing. The Army Corps of Engineers is sending water downstream to relieve pressure on the dams, but they're filling faster than they can be emptied, meaning homes on the backside of the reservoirs are flooding as well. Nearly 3 dozen subdivisions, hundreds of homes at risk. It could be days before the sun shines here again, but tonight, a ray of hope for Aisha Nelson. After spending hours helpless and stranded,
I haven't ate in 2 days, no water.
Aisha and her family were finally rescued.
Today, that water was coming up so fast, my life flashed before my eyes. I wouldn't wish this on nobody.
Safe, but traumatized, witnessing things no one ever should.
Once we seen those people die in that water, it just like took a toll on me.
And while they lost everything they owned, Aisha says she and her family...
About that, it's going to get worse than it is now. DeMarco Morgan is in Dickinson, Texas, where he watched hundreds of people rescued from a bridge overlooking a flooded highway. DeMarco, good morning.
Nora, good morning to you. Just heartbreaking. We're about 30 miles east from where you are and not too far from the Dickinson Bayou. But take a look behind me. The water's starting to recede, and it's doing so at a fast pace, but we are not in the clear just yet. You can now see the markers there actually in the streets. But you talked about the rescues. We saw nothing but boat traffic yesterday. In and out, rescue after rescue. From just above the highway, you can see the flooding's devastating toll. People were driving trucks, riding jet skis, and even paddling through the rising water to rescue others. Those without a ride waited along the interstate in neck-deep water. Early on, we saw 2 Coast Guard helicopters swoop in to help those stranded. One desperate family member posted this picture on social media, showing several elderly women trapped in a nursing home. As the morning continued, we saw firefighters lift what we believe to be 3 of those women into the back of this truck. All 15 women at La Bella Vita nursing home were saved. Not all rescue efforts went smoothly. A small boat carrying 2 people and their dog capsized as another one tried to drag it to safety. This family from Lamarck rushed to Dickinson to rescue their grandkids after the house was overrun with water. Why was it important to get here right away?
It was important for me to get here right away because this is my family. This is all I have, and I just want nothing to happen to us like this in this weather.
Another family we spoke with said they were trapped with nowhere to go when someone showed up to save them.
We were in like our garage up to here and yelling, and we flagged him down and he came and rescued us.
So thank God for strangers.
Thank God for that.